Good morning and welcome. We're at the Landmark Blacksmith shop today, and I've been asked to do a little video explaining what blacksmithing is and some of the tools that we use. I hope you all are staying well and staying safe, and the park will be back open as soon as possible. But until then, we're going to do a few little videos like this to keep people interested and maybe even learn a thing or two. And we enjoy doing it. So today we're going to talk about the basic tools of blacksmithing, and there are three, other than the fire, that are pretty much a must. You have to have an anvil, a big heavy piece of steel, and this is a fine anvil here, and I'm pretty sure a lot of horseshoes and other implements have been made on it over the years. I'd say this one's probably about 100 years old. You need a hammer to strike your metal with against the anvil, and you need some tongs. You can't just grab that hot metal with your hands, you need something to hold it with. So this is the basic position that you see us in most of the time, and that's why. Now, hammers vary a lot, and we use a lot of different hammers for a lot of different things. This hammer is called a cross-peen hammer, and as you can see, it's got a flat piece here in the back, and what that's for is when you hit a piece of metal here, it spreads it in the direction away from that peen. So we move our metal however we want by using that to push it. Basically, like, imagine the metal being really hard Play-Doh or really hard clay, and that's how we move it. But it gets a little softer when you get it hot, but not by too much. Enough to move it around anyways. And this is also called an engineer's hammer. This isn't it wasn't made to be a blacksmith's hammer, but I altered it to be a blacksmith's hammer. But a blacksmith's hammer looks a lot like that, a little cross-peen hammer. Another one we use commonly is the ball-peen hammer. You'll see the ball there, and what that's good for is when you need a divot in something, like the divot in this oyster knife here. See if you can see that. Maybe not. But you can see it better like that. Like that. So it's a thumb hole. It goes like that. That's how I put that divot in there, is with a ball peen hammer. We shape our metal with a lot of different things. And the one other thing that's very necessary other than these three things, and it becomes more necessary as you get more into blacksmithing, and there's hammers of all sizes, of course, is a vise. Hopefully you can see this over here. If not, I'll do a shot of it in a little while and add it to the video. But this is a vise, and this is called a leg vise. And the blacksmith's vise, or the leg vise, or post vise, is a very specific tool because it's not like a bench vise. With a bench vise, if you're hammering on this thing and putting any kind of pressure on it, you're going to either break it because it's cast iron usually, or you're going to tear up your table with the leverage. Now, this post vise has a post that goes all the way down to the ground and transfers that energy into the ground. This is very useful, especially for me when I'm twisting things, like the handle on this. But you can see how that's got a decorative twist in it. Hopefully you can see that. The way that happens is we grab it in here. Well, it's very hot, of course. And you'll use another tool. Where's that thing at? This is my little twisting bar. So I have that clamped in there very tight, and I'll grab it on the other end and just twist it like that, and it gives you that nice decorative twist. Now, those are the basic tools that we start with. But you end up using a lot of other things, and the cool thing about being a blacksmith is you can make your own tools. You can make your own hammers, which is a heck of a process, but you can do it. You can make your own tongs. And as you go along, you start doing more and more things, you'll realize you need more and more sets of tongs because every pair can do something different. Like this pair is specifically made, this pair I specifically made for this one purpose. And that's to hold this railroad spike. I was working with a lot of railroad spikes making oyster knives, and you just can't hold it with a pair of flat tongs, but you'll see how that fits in there. It fits right over. Just like this, grabs it firmly and securely. That's not going to move whenever I'm hitting it with a hammer. So I don't have to worry about it flying off and having hot metal flying everywhere, because that's not what you want. So those are the basic tools that we use in blacksmithing. Now, the first question we typically get as blacksmiths when you tell someone you are a blacksmith, is they say, "Oh, you make horseshoes." If they're usually over the age of 50, that's what they'll say. And if they're younger or watch a lot of Forged in Fire, they'll say, "Oh, wow, man, you make swords." Well, yes, both of those things are true of us. Here's a little hip knife I made very recently. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. It's kind of a D handle. It's a model of a hunting knife from about 1740, I think is when they came out. But I made mine double edged because that's what I like, and this is actually my own personal hip knife or whatever. And the horseshoes. Yeah, we make horseshoes too. I don't make horseshoes because it takes a very specific blacksmith to make a good horseshoe and make them fit. I'm not that guy. My specialization is more in tools. I like to make tools, and I like to make decorative pieces. Everybody has their speciality and the things they enjoy doing. I do make knives. I don't make horseshoes. That's about it for now. I think next time we'll talk about the fire and how the fire works. That's really the most important part, is to get your metal hot before you can bring it to the anvil. Those are the basic tools and what we basically do. Appreciate you tuning in. I hope to see you next time. As soon as this park opens back up, I hope to see you out here and we can chat about it. Thanks for stopping by.